By 102-79, Pacers lead the series 3-2 and have seemingly just this game reverted to Pacers of old, not necessarily in a good way. Hibbert 4 points, Paul George 15. We're putting the Pacers on the hook. Stephen A. Smith.
Yes.
What's wrong with them?
Everything. Everything's wrong with
What
the
happened?
Indiana Pacers.
Yes.
Let me say this. I need to give my heartfelt condolences
Oh, no.
to Larry Bird. Larry Bird has incredible, incredible heart and courage. Never backed down from anything. A champion 3 times over, an MVP 3 times over. Never folded like this. The Kevin Pritchards of the world, Donnie Walsh. I mean, when you talk about a front office that knows what they're doing, it's these guys. And to be quite honest with you, I'm tired of pointing the finger, to some degree anyway, at Frank Vogel. He was a good coach.
Yeah.
Coming into this season, he was a good coach this season. I'm not pointing the finger at him. This is not about him.
Right.
This is about the players. This was one of the most atrocious performances I have seen in quite some time. A closeout game on your own floor. Anybody could lose.
Yes.
That happens. They were down 30. I mean, I'm done with the Pacers. They might very well win this series. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't want them to. They don't deserve it. The kind of play that they've put forth for the vast majority of the last 2.5 months, the Indiana Pacers do not deserve to be in the Eastern Conference Finals. With the way as erratic as Washington is,
Yep.
Indiana might go to Washington and win tomorrow night.
Maybe.
They might pull it off. They might win tomorrow night. But I'm not going to lie to you. And you know me, outside of my social preferences, you know, the city, I'd prefer to be in South Beach than Utah. Forgive me. Okay, that's just the way it is, okay? But what I'm saying to you is, outside of my social preferences, I don't root against teams. I might root for the Knicks because I'm a native New Yorker, but I don't root against teams. I don't want the Indiana Pacers to win. Last night they played like straight garbage. They looked horrible. They got embarrassed. Martin Gortat, I love this guy. He's a big fan of. I don't know a bigger fan of this show, by the way, than him. Okay, this dude, 31 points, 16 rebounds.
13 or 15?
13 or 15 from the field. Roy Hibbert, where are you?
Oh, boy.
4 points?
Yeah.
4 points and 2 rebounds. Really? Really? Paul George, superstar, 5 of 15 points. No show. No show. I'm not going to get on my man David West because he shot 500 from the field, hit 17 points, but more importantly, he plays his role, he does his job. I'm just looking at these guys. They should be ashamed of themselves. The Indiana Pacers last night were an embarrassment. They owe the city of Indianapolis an apology. I swear to you, they should give those folks refunds. They didn't show up last night. They literally took the night off. This was embarrassing. And I'm done with them. And because to me, and they was really going to make me sick, Skip, if they win this series and then they show up and be competitive against
Well, you know
Miami.
they will.
That really annoys
It
me.
was about to
That
happen.
really annoys me. You know, be who you are all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. It's just a horrible performance. They got schooled by the Washington Wizards. And you know why? Because primarily, even though Washington played well, Skip, it's primarily, they walked up and said, we got this. We got this. The nerve of you to have that kind of attitude the way that you've looked for the vast majority of the last 2.5 months. I really think the man with the muscles coming out his ears, David West, should start slapping these guys upside their heads. I'm serious. He should just start slapping dudes. He should be like a Charles Oakley or somebody. Just start smacking dudes around. Seriously. Somebody need to do something. This is embarrassing. It really is.
I am so with you. I am so done with the Indiana Pacers. I wish we could declare the Eastern Conference playoffs over and just give the Heat a bye into the finals. Because I don't even care if somehow the Pacers muster up some competitiveness against the Heat. I don't care. I've also seen enough. I had some other work to do last night. I'm working on a Johnny Manziel thing, and I'm doing this. And I'm thinking, I'm not that interested in the first game. I'm there for the second game. But I'm just kind of half watching. It's on, and I'm doing it, and I'm going. And then all of a sudden, in the third quarter, I said, are you kidding me? And then I just quit what I was doing because I was mesmerized mostly by this stat. Rebounds last night.
Unbelievable.
62 to 23. 62 for the visiting team to 23 for the home team in a closeout game. 62 to 20. How is that possible? Roy Hibbert? No. You get 2 rebounds. He's a superstar, right? I mean, he's like in a stupor.
Yeah.
Like, you see what I mean?
A
Superstar.
He's in a stupor.
You know, like, well, what's wrong with him?
Okay.
How do you go from what he's been doing to that? And, you know, you do put super in front of Paul George's name. I'm sorry.
That's the latest.
I'm sorry.
I've never done that.
5 for 15.
You're saying
you know.
questionable.
Yeah.
He had the potential.
Okay, he
that.
does.
He's a
And I
star
give you
that had
potential.
potential, yes.
I agree. And some nights I say, wow, that's big time, Paul, like the previous game 4, you know?
Sad because he's such
Yeah,
a
come
likable
on.
guy. He's
I
such a
know.
likable guy, and he is.
They're a likable team.
And very much
Yes.
so. It may be the most. It actually, man, I don't mean to sound all soft and sentimental because that ain't how I roll. But I mean, it almost breaks my heart to say this about these guys.
Yeah.
You can't find a nicer group of guys.
Yeah.
I just can't believe how awful they've been for how long they've been this awful. If you had been the Indiana Pacers for the first 60 games, you had been that team throughout the playoffs, and you just showed up last night, you had a bad night.
Yeah.
It happens.
This is what they've been blown out on several occasions during these playoffs. Several. This is beyond embarrassing. It really, really is.
Hey, Stephen,
and to get out rebounded
60
by
to
almost 30, by 30.
That's
by
impossible.
30. I mean, listen, the stuff. Trevor,
No, almost 40.
40.
not just right.
30.
Not only Gortat, Trevor Ariza had more rebounds
Yeah.
than anybody on
By
their
far.
team. And Bradley Beal had more rebounds than anybody on their team. And Drew Gooden had more rebounds. 4 different members of the Washington Wizards had more rebounds than anybody on the Indiana Pacers, including your 7'2" center and your 6'9", 6'10" power forward. That's just embarrassing.
It got so bad. Would you believe Otto Porter actually got in the game and made his one shot that he took? Otto Porter.
Oh, and by the way,
I was on the record before that draft. I didn't love him.
Okay.
But again,
check this out, Skip. The other thing is, Vogel actually gave them the Monday off because they were tired.
They looked even more tired.
These are the playoffs.
Exhausted.
Listen,
Yeah.
you could get a rest from physical activity. What about the film room? I mean, listen. Listen. You ever been in one of them movie theaters when they got the reclining chairs and you can kick up and your feet can leave it? They can have these seats and they can have that in the film room in the set. You can't just lie. It takes physical exertion to lie back, chill, munch on some cheese doodles or something and watch some film about the Wizards. You can't do that.
Okay. Yeah.
You don't miss the playoffs.
Okay.
Man.
I see.
Oh,
Let's move on.
I don't want to see them.
You don't want to see him.
I really don't. I'm going to be mad if I got to cover them.
You want Miami to get a bye.
just a bye.
Just go straight.
Just call it off.
Just call it off. We're done.
Thank you.
All right, folks. Well, let's move on to